Hey guys, all right, today we're going to be continuing our discussion on engineering as a profession and how the decisions that we make as engineers affect the world and the people around us. So, as we discussed with the assignment on yesterday, there are positive impacts, which are called benefits, negative impacts that are costs, then we have intended impacts and then unintended impacts. So, some of the major impacts that have occurred because of engineers, here are some of the 20 biggest achievements in engineering. I'm going to leave this for a second so you can look at it, but um, electricity, the automobile, airplanes, water supply and distribution, electronics, radio and television, and so on and so forth. You'll be able to watch this video later so you can take a look at it. But all of these achievements, especially the ones that have happened within the 20th century, have had a major impact on the way we live as a society. So, as I said, benefits, the positive impacts are the benefits that come about from the engineering designs that have happened. So, a successful solution to an engineering design problem. So, like I said, the expected impacts are the things that you designed it for this reason, and doing so is solving the problem that the engineers had in mind when they first created it. So, if you're thinking about everything that was going on right now in Schoology, the expected impacts were that for a lot of times we're using Schoology in the classroom in face-to-face environments. So the creators of Schoology expected us to be able to have you all upload assignments digitally while in school. The unexpected positive impact was Schoology was already in place. Y'all had already been using it. So when the world had to shut down, we had a way to immediately continue educating you all. So that's one of the unexpected benefits and impacts of Schoology. Negative impacts. So again, these are the costs. This is damage to people and the environment. So some of the unintended impacts. So looking at this video, we look at transportation as a positive. You're able to go further distance in a shorter time. But one of the unintended impacts is crashing, especially with the invention of the telephone. That's two negative impacts, not telephone, but the cell phone, the smartphone. That's two negative impacts that end up coming together that were unforeseen. No one knew that creating a cell phone and creating text messages would drive up the amount of car crashes that we're seeing where people are texting while driving. And just recently, Texas created a full statewide law on not being able to drive and text or even drive and look at your phone, period. So that was one of the unintended negative impacts of texting. Risk analysis. So this was the reflection question number 2 yesterday. So it identifies, evaluates as many potential impacts as possible and can lead to ethical decisions to be made. The goal is to balance benefits with cost. So I briefly brought up the Boeing 777s that were happening, that were crashing a couple of years ago. So a risk analysis was literally done where they had a software glitch in those airplanes, and there was a way to fix it, but it was going to cost millions of dollars. And somebody actually weighed the cost of fixing it versus will the planes actually go down, or if a plane actually went down, would the lawsuits that came about from that plane going down, or the insurance they had to pay out because of that plane going down, would that be less than the cost of actually fixing it? So it was a known error that was causing those 777s to go down. But people people at Boeing that were in charge of all of that actually made the decision that at the time when no planes had gone down, that the probability of a plane going down was less than it would be for them to actually have to fix it. Even after a couple of planes went down, they were still weighing the cost of lives and how much it will cost on an insurance payment versus just going in and spending the millions to fix and upgrade all of the planes that could potentially have that problem. We're also having that same debate in life right now. People, when the entire pandemic started to happen, started to weigh the cost of shutting down cities, shutting down schools, shutting down companies, and everybody having to work remote versus the number of potential lives that could actually be lost. And it's one that it really affected us as teachers and students, which is, right now while we're at home, because there was a raging debate where people were really trying to figure out how many teachers and students lives were acceptable in order to restart the economy. That is the risk analysis that people are actually trying to make. And that was the reflection question number 2 from yesterday. So the future of engineering. So it's, it's kind of unknown on where we're going to be going. We have some known issues. Some of those are sustainability, making products last longer, renewable and clean energy. That's just, the green energy. How can we, as we're running out of fossil fuels, as we're trying to get away from fossil fuels polluting the earth, what are some of the renewable energy sources we can use to start powering our electricity and empowering our cars? Equitable access to resources and technology. So this is in part, Google is trying to solve this. So some of you actually have the Google Chromebooks that the district purchased. There was a time where getting a laptop, even a cheap laptop, could be $500-$600. The Chromebooks come in at around $200 to $250. So that's how they're trying to work on that equitable access to resources and technology. And then the advancement of health-related technology. So what are the things that we can do to make people healthier utilizing technology? Some of the unknown issues: internet security, cyber terrorism. As we move forward, when we especially move back to the class, I'll be showing you some videos, and you may have seen it, especially if you watch Black Mirror. Boston Dynamics is creating, they're doing robots that are becoming more and more human-like and have more and more AI. So they're being able to think for themselves. So if you've seen High Robot or any of those kind of movies, we're getting closer and closer to that. So that style of engineering where we have these issues of, are these robots going to, what are the negative impacts of having thinking robots, thinking computers, thinking software? With Facebook and Instagram and Google right now, with the advertising, that if, everybody has a joke, you say something and you log into Instagram or Facebook and all of a sudden there's an ad for it. So we have those ethical issues of how much are we going to allow these computers to learn and know about us. So that is the end of chapter 2. You will have some questions to answer, and then we'll start reviewing and preparing for an exam.